And I can say this time because I've always wanted to say this, that we are back
Exactly.
from a long winter break and a very intense winter break for both you and me. But Playmaker TV is back, and you've even named the episode that I see.
Yeah, I was like, always you have to when you're starting the stream, you're typing in the episode name, and I was like, yeah, Playmaker TV is back. That was the feeling of it. So that should be the
Yeah,
name.
that should be the name.
So if
Uh,
we are a bit rusty, that's because we have had a longer break than usual.
yeah, we we've been so into the transfer window, both of us, because you have an a work within Playmaker that sees you in BK Häcken, a club that has been doing very well, I would say, both on the men's side, but obviously also in the women's side, because we have to mention the fact that BK Häcken is in the quarterfinal of the Champions League. That's great for Swedish women's football.
Yeah, that's amazing. All the credit to the players and coaching staff and everyone has managed to do it. Yeah, unbelievable. A really like good group stage. I think we have had 6 good games. Really, like of course, like some of it has not been on the top, but we managed to play good all over. And like against Chelsea, like super good team for 2 games, we managed to take 1 point away. And yeah, we could have like even taken more points if we would have been a little bit lucky. So yeah, but amazing group stage, and now it's going to be a super big test in the
Yeah,
quarterfinal.
yeah, but
And
I
the
mean,
Doha, yeah.
yeah, I think it's really worth mentioning here, because I mean a lot of people have been doubting the level of the Swedish league and Swedish women's football about to sink, if that's a good way to describe it. But I will also say that I do think that this group stage phase of the Champions League this time around has been really, I'm not going to say surprising, because that would be bad. I'm actually kind of sick of people talking about big surprises when it comes to the not so big teams or leagues to go through, because also SK Brann in Norway is in the quarterfinal stage, and also
Yeah,
Ajax, who
yeah,
was in a very tough group on paper. But
yeah,
this is a competition where everything can happen, and I think it's kind of, I mean, obviously, I'm working with Linköping FC now, but I'm over the moon for BK Häcken to be in the quarterfinal, and I hope that they will make it into the semifinal with everything I am, because
yeah.
it's just beneficial for everyone in the Swedish league and women's football overall. So
Yeah, in general, I think it's a good year that like women's football is getting, I don't know, better and better, more qualitative. Like a lot of very good players. Like the tournament is super competitive. Like we had some big teams failing to reach Champions League, like Paris. Was it PSG or Paris that beat Manchester United, and Arsenal dropped out in the qualify
yeah, and
too,
then Wolfsburg.
and Wolfsburg, and then now Bayern Munich failing in the group stage. Like so. Um,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
it's the first time I think in forever that there are no German teams in the knockout stage of the
Oh yeah,
competition.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so um,
So and I don't remember this things that you should look up, but I don't remember like when the last time was a Swedish team played like quarterfinal in Europe. They changed like I mean they changed how the
yeah,
tournament
the
worked with
format.
group stage
The
and
format.
non-group stage. Before it was group stage, right? Oh,
No, before it was a knockout phase, like from the get go.
That was
And
what I meant.
I
Yeah.
know that Rosengård has been in the quarterfinal obviously before, but still with the development and everything, I will be BK Häcken's biggest supporter when the knockout stage starts. But when the Swedish competition season starts here, and we will be true enemies, Jesper. Even though
Yeah, exactly.
I'm humble enough to say that I do think that BK Häcken will be the team to beat for every other Swedish team in the Damallsvenskan and in the Swedish Cup this upcoming season. But that's another story, because
That's another story.
obviously the development in women's football is like quick and fast, and we can even figure it out sometimes. There has been things going on at your job, Playmaker AI, as well, obviously, because you guys are developing in a quick pace as well. So what we're going to do today is that we are going to look at the platform again, because now also is it's very interesting, because now you are using Playmaker like in the real life for BK Häcken, obviously, as a platform to scout players for them, which is, I still will say this, that I think it's still very new for clubs, not
Yeah.
just women's game, but also in the men's game. So you've been trying it like for real since this summer, and now you also working as a developer with Playmaker, obviously, because you guys are doing great things. And you and me talked, and we said that we need to talk about this. So here we are. So let's just dive right into it and bring it.
Exactly. I'll share the screen. I don't know what works best with where we should be. Let's do this. And then I go to this page here. So as you said, Mia, I'm using this as a scout in BK Häcken, but I've also developed this platform with the help of my colleagues, Ola Lidmark, the founder, who has done, is a great developer that's, done so much for this platform. And then me. So we've been the developers of this platform. And when you're working as a scout, that's also good, because then you get immediate feedback, and then I can think of, I should implement this in the platform, and the club want to see this, and that usually helps the platform to become better over time. So super good. And then for Häcken, of course, it's very nice that they get me, and hopefully the expertise that I bring, but also that they can get the first hand on testing new tools and so on.
And we're gonna, since it's been a while, we're gonna remind people of what Playmaker AI is, because you have been, to me, that has been following you for a longer period of time now. There has been some changes into what you, because there's a clear mindset of, and you can really feel it now, that what you guys want to do with this platform and what you want other people to discover about the platform as well. Obviously you guys have competitors in the market, but this is a very like unique platform in so many ways, because it's so easy to use, and you have been working, I mean, the changes, when I logged on to the platform just a couple of weeks ago, I was like, oh, this and this and this wasn't here the last time to it. And then we're going to talk some Women's Super League now, and I know that you're like a cook, so you have prepared stuff.
Exactly. Like this cooking show, and yeah, this is how you do it, and you put in the oven. But I already did that, so here it
Exactly.
is. But yeah, quick. If we have a reminder of the platform, like as you said, we had an old platform as well, and then we released this one. You could say from the beginning of September, for real, and then it's developed ever since, and it's still like it's a house. It's never a finished job. We continue to improve it, and but the main idea with this platform is really that we want clubs to be able to do the best possible data analytics without needing to do any programming and coding, and also that they shouldn't really need to be locked into which, like in the old platform when we had more a finished, like when you could analyze, but we decided like this the KPIs that we use in the Spider, like this is the KPIs we choose to show the data per season. Here it's more of like the user decides what data they want to use and how they would like to how they would like to analyze their players, what they want to show, and so on. So give a lot of freedom to the analysts and coaches, but also media, of course, that wants to use the platform. And on
Yeah, and
this on
also
the
will just say this because also it's like you can use it to scout players, obviously, but you can also use it to analyze your own game as a
yeah
club, as a team,
yeah
whatever. And I think that's also worth mentioning because we usually talk a lot about just single players when we watch data, but I know that you're going to show us later how to look at team data more in depth.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we like the first when you log in, like, and this page is actually like viewable to anyone. If you just type in dashboard .playmaker.ai, will reach this page. And here it's more like we have, I would say, news about what's happening on the platform, but also it could be like, yeah, when PlaymakerTV episode that I could link to here. Like tomorrow, I will do a news here, and I would say PlaymakerTV is back and add the link. But so like here, when I will show you team presets today. But then like when team presets is out, we release a news here, and then you can press on the page and you can read about it. It could also be like I will show the line chart today, and then like the line chart has some new features, and then we also have a video here, so we could like show like Ola here shows like what he has developed and how to use it. So it's like a guide also if you want to do the same thing as him. And because that's the thing, when you have a platform that is very free to use, it could be like there's some hidden tools or whatever, or they're not meant to be hidden, but since you have freedom, you maybe do not know that you can do this if we don't show you. And
That's why
the
we are
user,
here.
yeah, that's why we're here, exactly. So the first time you log in, this page is absolutely empty, and the platform name is not very obvious on this page, but we call it nothing, and that's like a little bit funny because we said that the new platform is really nothing from the beginning. Like you don't have any data to choose, you don't have any dashboards, like you build it yourself. But so there's not nothing in the platform, but it's more of like you create the content, we provide you the possibility to build like the tool and the material and so on.
You
So I
start
have
with empty hands when you log into the platform, and when you are out, your brain is fried.
yeah, and now we're also like looking into developing more of like being able to reach content faster than you can do now, or maybe have something that is automatically provided, like you don't need to load it. So like we're looking into also doing it the other way around, but still in the Playmaker way. But that's for future episodes when we have released more of that stuff. So
You're just teasing now.
yeah, so I have, for example, 151 data sets. That's a lot. I think in this Christmas time, I felt like now I'm just gonna delete all my data sets. I'm still redoing them, so I did that. But or not all of them, but a lot of them. But because when you create a data set, you choose which season you want. So for example, when I made for Women's Super League, I searched for Women's Super League, and then I chose the appropriate season. You can add, you could do a data set of several seasons. For example, you can look at players for this season and the season before, or you can just do Women's Super League and Damallsvenskan in the same data set, for example. So this was not possible in the old platform, so you can add more seasons. Then there's no need to do new data sets all the time. So for example, if I'm doing a Women's Super League data set right now, the season, I could use this auto update, and then it will just as soon as we have more games entering the platform, the data set will update itself. So I could do this data set when the season starts, and then I don't need to do anything for the rest of the season, possibly. Then I need to name it, of course. And now it's going to be like the cooking show, that I'm going to do a data set that I'm not going to create, but
because you've already done it, and it's in the and we have to take it out, take it in the oven.
So I'm going to show what I did, because I prepared data sets for players on all positions, and that's one way of doing it. Because, for example, when you have your data set, I would like to compare players to maybe when I'm scouting, I don't want to compare Ritten Connery to all players in the league. I just want to compare to players on the same position. So and then also I maybe don't want all players that I've played. I may want to have all players that have played at least 5 games. So I'm reducing the players that barely played. Then I would use the position group of offensive winger, where Connery would be. I could also if I want, I could use the avatar that for new users is the player roles. We call our player roles avatars, and a player role is that the data helps us define if this is a playmaking central midfielder or if it's a ball-winning central midfielders. And then we have our own names to those player roles, and they're meant to be understandable from just the name. But we have a page on the starting page with descriptions if there's any issues understanding them. But that's first. So for example, maybe I'm looking for an offensive winger, but I also want them to be a wide playmaker. So then I could let the platform choose the playmakers that the offensive wingers that we classify as creator, and creator is our name for a wide playmaker. So a playmaker that plays a fullback or a winger. So that would niche the data set even more. What we also have is we have all the KPIs here. So
it's not just KPIs. All KPIs, it's a lot of KPIs now.
Yeah, I think it's about 100. And they're in alphabetic order. And if you don't know, for example, what XG shot is, you can hover over it and a description will appear. We also have a page on our first page with where they're listed instead, if you would like to read them like that. But so if you're not understanding, or when you're new to the platform, especially, then it's even an analyst wouldn't probably know what all of them are, because we have some KPIs that are maybe unique for us. But then we also have a lot of KPIs that are football actions, like passes per 90. Yeah, that's passes. But then maybe you're thinking is it successful, or is all passes? And the playmaker logic is that if it says passes or tackles or air duels, it's the one, it's not the failed, it's only the successful. But then, anyways, if I don't know what KPIs to choose, I did a correlation study that you could read about on our platform or on our webpage, but I will describe it a bit now. And it's for example, if I don't know which KPIs to choose from, I could get the help with pressing offensive winger here. And then I did a study where I had a data set of a lot of leagues and a lot of players. And then I did a correlation study to find which KPIs is correlating to certain positions and certain player roles. So for example, a winger is compared to the average football player generally good at dribbling, progressing the ball a long distance, passing to a finish, pretty good at finishing, touches in the box, winning ball on the offensive half. So what it's showing is the 10 KPIs that correlates the most with that position. So that's like kind of a help to like get the most useful KPIs. And when I'm saying most useful, it's like they are very good at scouting wingers to get like relevant KPIs, but there's nothing stopping you from like, well, I want to add this KPI as well, or like our winger, it's like I'm not interested really in how she's shooting. It's more important for me that she has a like, I don't know, that she has a good successful challenge percent. So like there's nothing that stops you from like adding what you want, but it helps you to it helps you to choose KPIs, and it can also, if you're, for example, using a play role, for example, that we do all wingers, but I want to have the wide playmaker KPIs, it helps you to like get an understanding on what a wide playmaker is good at. So
you can choose the position and also an avatar, or just choose the like avatar or the position.
You can filter on both position and avatar. So if, for example, if we would do this, then maybe it would be, I'm saying 8 players in the Women's Super League that are offensive wingers and creators maybe. But if I'm just doing offensive wingers, then we will have 2 per team or 3 per team. So
Okay.
it's narrowing your data set. And it could also be like, if we're looking for a playmaker, for example, then maybe I'm doing this instead of doing defensive mid and attacking mid, because like they could be, or I could do both these positions, but I mean playmaker could be both these positions, and it's
Okay.
Yeah. So but then also the thing is that like this is a really good way at finding playmakers, and especially like if I'm adding, like let's say I'm looking for a new playmaker for Manchester United, then maybe I'm very interested in like adding several leagues and like getting a few hits. So like then it's very nice to have like a very narrow search, because then I would probably have, if I'm adding like 8 women's leagues here and I have playmaker and balancing midfielder, I want a deep lying playmaker, then I will probably get like 20 relevant hits. Then maybe not everyone is good enough for Manchester United, but it helps me search.
Yeah, a broader search, and probably a bit longer list as well if you scout for a certain position with a role.
And then I would say that not like it's a strength of finding playmakers in that way, but then it's still like Mia, you for example, you could be a really good playmaker, but you are more similar to the box to box, so your label will be box to box, and then you will not be appearing. So like in some sense it could sometimes be like interesting to not maybe have that search. If I'm like searching in a league, for example, I would just have the central midfielder positions, and then I would maybe choose the playmaker preset here to get like playmaker relevant KPIs, and then add the mean KPI score that I will talk about more later when we're looking into the data set, and the playmaker rank. So yeah, I think that's a broad idea on like how to do a data set. You can also, if you want to do team data set, you have the presets here for teams, and the only thing you need to do is that you need to switch, like I want to do a team data set, not a player data set. So that's the main idea.
It's a great buffet for data analysts, coaches, media, whatever. Even if you're just interested in learning more about data analysis, obviously Playmaker is the place to go, or the company.
I hope so. Yeah. And then so I prepared, as you said, as a chef, I prepared some data sets here, and you can see that you have the clock here, whatever you say, that means it's auto updating. So it's like for example, the Super League fullbacks that I made this morning, like that data set won't be updating. So like if I did it now this date, like new data won't come here. So if I'm interested at looking at fullbacks in the Super League in 1 month, I need to press refresh here. But if I'm choosing the auto update, I don't need to do that. And one nice feature also when I did this data set is that you have the copy button here. So like if I'm pressing copy, then a new data set will appear, and then I can just enter. I can just enter here, and then I can like switch position to winger, and then name this offensive winger and change preset, and then go back, like press save. And that's so I don't need to like, if you're doing many data sets at the same time that are pretty similar, you don't need to like repress all the settings. Like it's fewer button clicks just to like do copy and change whatever.
Yeah.
It could be that I would like to have the Frauen Bundesliga wingers instead, and then I just change the league, and then it's the same.
Yeah.
So then you want to view your dashboard, and how do you view your dashboard? Sometimes I'm working so quickly. That's not. I like when I do demos sometimes, like because I'm so used to the platform. So I'm like, here's the dashboard page. We go down, press OK.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to watch in like good slow motion to see. So like I'm slowing down. This is the dashboard page. You can see a lot of dashboard page that I have here. For example, like the Häcken scouting that I'm like cleaning all the time and using, and then I made a Bundesliga dashboard for my friend working at Fotbollskanalen. Yeah, and you have a lot of them. So now I would just like do a new one that we would just name Playmaker is back. Playmaker is back. Playmaker TV is back. Like that. And you need to press. It's important to save your dashboard. If you're not saving your dashboard, your work will be lost.
We can also add to the fact that I would say that it's probably very unique to be able to share your dashboard with another user of Playmaker.
Yeah, exactly. And that's you do if you press here, I could share it. So I could, for example, share it with Mia's email, and then I press add, and then Mia will be able to show my work and use it. We haven't released it yet, but we'll be releasing soon the possibility to share the data set as well. So, but the main, like the only difference is here that the dashboard, I can like the data sets. You will only be able to share like within your organization. Because the thing is here that we're also making it possible to like maybe if you're a media, or if it could be also like in Linköping at Linköping webpage, they maybe would like to have like some nice thing with like a team dashboard after every game or something, or like the player spiders on the player pages, and then we're working on like being able to share and then having like an interactive widget that will like update on a media platform. So that's another thing enabling that. And that could be nice. So yeah, I'm teasing future products here.
Yeah, very much.
So I did a lot of data sets, and I usually like to do them per position to like get relevant comparisons. And then you can do like we have certain widgets here. So I would just start with the table widget. And since I did a lot of position data sets, we could like just continue with goalkeeper. So now I loaded all the goalkeepers that I've played 5 or more games. In the beginning here, it's like since I made a big data set, like this is showing up in a data frame. We need to maybe make it like we could still we could read some, but we maybe want to make it more clean and tidy. So I usually press here on the 3 buttons here, like just to pin it. I think that's nice because then you can like hover and scroll. So team and player is quite nice to have viewable. But then what you can also do is that you can like choose which KPIs to show here. So for example, my idea here was that I would like to clean it to like maybe look at which goalkeepers in the Women's Super League that according to this data has done a good job. And then I would like maybe it could be relevant with played games like some kind of played games features, I would choose 90s then. Position and position group and avatar is irrelevant because we only have one avatar as for now for goalkeeper and all our goalkeepers here. So
Yeah.
Nationality is kind of maybe nice, but I like for this show I'm removing it just to have a more clean and tidy data set. And then like I want the playmaker rank. I would like the saved XG percentage and this, yeah, all these saving columns. I can remove switches and the mean KPI score here. And then the passes percentages, I can remove that as well. And then I get a more clean and tidy data set. This is not good. This is okay. Well, there was something weird with the stars. This has not happened before. Okay, I don't know why.
Anything can happen if you're on live TV, Jesper.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was not prepared for this. Anyways, the way what I was meant to show is like the idea of like sorting the data frame and like only showing the relevant things. So here, for example, if we have if we're looking at saving percentage, clean saving percentage, and saves per 90, you can sort the data frame here and use it as a table to just look at the KPIs, like which player has had the biggest saving percentage. Like Ramsey and Everton has a huge saving percentage, but she has also been like crazy busy the 8 games she's played. Like this is an insane number.
Yeah.
If you compare to Mary Earps, that has a more normal top team saves per 90.
Not so busy.
No. I haven't watched every Chelsea game, but also interesting that this is just one metric for a goalkeeper, so it's not an honest goalkeeper ranking, but it's very interesting that Berger and Musovic has such a similar score. Just that when Musovic played, her back defense didn't do as a good job as for when Berger has played. Like if you look at how busy she's been.
This is also very interesting because it feels like Zecira Musovic is like kind of picked as a starting goalkeeper when Emma Hayes doesn't choose her best starting 11. You could like draw a conclusion from that the opponent is not someone that Chelsea would expect to lose against, if that makes sense.
That's actually, yeah, exactly. That's actually very relevant. Yeah, I was kind of after the World Cup, I was hoping that she would play more than these games. Like that was the general sense.
Yeah, would have hoped for that as well, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyways, we can move on to a different position group, look. So now we'll show like what I was meant to show on the goalkeepers. So for example, then we have different ratings. So like I selected the center back KPIs. Like when I did this, I added maybe I don't think I added an extra. Maybe I did, but now I forgot. But I added like the center back preset. So always the position preset to all these data set. Then I would like to still have the 90s. And then I remove some columns to just make it more clean and tidy here. And what I wanted to have is that we see that there's a lot of interesting KPIs, but we can look at them more in the spider later.
Yeah.
But what I did then is that I wanted to keep the playmaker rank, and I wanted to keep the mean KPI score. So the playmaker rank, which I mentioned in previous episodes, but that's like an AI machine learning rank that is like looking at how much is the player with their actions, increasing the odds of the team scoring and decreasing the odds of the team conceding a goal. And generally for a center back, it's more about decreasing the odds of conceding a goal, maybe, but same times the center backs are really important for build up, the longer passes, like breaking lines. So you get the offensive part as well. But all actions are valued in that model, and then it's valued based on that. And you get a game rating, and in a data set, that game rating from 0 to 5 stars is averaged, and you get a rating. So if we sort on the playmaker rank, we have like this top list here where we have Millie Bright and Lai Alexandri that has like 4.5 stars. Millie Bright had only played 6 games, so for that matter of fact, like it's easier to have a good record like when you play a few games, because it says itself, like if you're only playing 3 games in a cup, I could like peak the top form but and be really good, but it's harder to be really good and peak a form for 30 games. Like that's what makes a general class player. But anyways, so that's the ranking. And then the thing is that, like, if it's showing here 4 stars, if you compare Maya Letizier to Amanda Ilestedt, this is not saying that Maya Letizier is player number 3 and Amanda Ilestedt is player number, what is it, 8 or 7? I can't count now, but
Yeah.
like they are not, like they are both 4 stars. Like there is a value that you could do behind this, that you could do decimals like and figure out. But the point here is, like, if you get a rating from 0 to 1 out of this machine learning model, and 0.8 is 4 stars, then for example Maya Letizier, if she's averaged to 0.8, maybe she is 0.82 and Amanda Ilestedt is 0.78. That's like a very small difference of, like, now it's a lot of numbers here, but the general idea is like it's a very tiny number difference between them, and we at Playmaker don't want to send the message that, like, that she is like 4% better and that we can statistically prove that. So that this is like, she's a 4-star this season, and that's like what we statistically with this machine learning model can say. So like they're at the top, they are performing at 4.5. These players are at 4, and then which player that is the best, that could more be like generally like when you're scouting about playing style and their peak quality, because they're both forced, but they're different at different things, and that's where the mean KPI score comes into play. So I've chosen the center back data set, and then I've chosen different KPIs in this data set. So mean KPI score, it takes like all the percentiles in the spider, and then it averages it, so it gets a value between 0 and 1. So if you have 1, you're performing the best in all the KPIs selected in this data set, and if you're having the number 0, you're performing the worst in all the KPIs. The only difference here is that the KPIs are not weighted. Like, we're not telling the model that it's better for a striker to score goals than to have a lot of backwards passes. Like, they are treated equally. That's the difference. Like, but in the AI machining model, like scoring goals is like one of the most crucial qualities a player could have. But so that's like the difference. Now I'm like making it a little bit more simple, but you get the idea. That's the difference. So if you're scouting this is the strong thing. Like, if you're scouting a certain type of forward in Linköping, and you want the player to be good at the pressing game, or you want it to be good in aerials, and you want it to be deliver the shot assist, maybe producing a high counter chances, producing a high expected goal, for example, then you can get this score and see like which players in the leagues we're searching is like performing on average the best in these KPIs, and then you can look more closely in them, compare them to the Playmaker rank, and see like, okay, which player is the best in this data set and should be the best for us. So that's the general idea.
And
so
it's also very interesting. It's also very interesting because when you look at a list like this, it's easy to realize why the top teams player are high up there. But when you see the less like good teams, or mid-table teams, and the players still shows up among the top 3 teams players, then that's something you should look at if you know.
Exactly. And you see that, and you still see that the mean KPI score here, it correlates a bit with the stars. Like you can see the numbers here are higher, but like depending on which KPIs you choose, it doesn't need to be that way. But
exactly.
So like for example, if we choose who should we choose? Maybe Leia Alexandri. Then we see that also like this number is correlating to the spider surface. So like we get a nice spider. So if you're only looking for big spiders, then also mean KPI score is like
But here you can also, if you put Millie Bright in here to compare these 2 players in the spider, then we see that they are different.
Yeah, exactly. And they're very different, like from some sense that Millie Bright usually classifies as the defending leader or the physical center back, while as Leia Alexandri is more of like the ball playing center back. And you can see that like in the, and that's both that like which avatar they can get. Like Millie Bright usually has the same in England and Chelsea, and like it says something about her playing style and her qualities, but it's also a matter of like the team tactics, of course, like how they use her and so on. But so but you see the difference now. Like they both have nice looking spiders, but this like depending on which center back, if this would be 2 players in, I don't know, the Finnish women's league, and we're searching for Häcken, like which kind of center back are we looking for? Are we looking for a Millie Bright or a Leia Alexandri?
What profile? And this is very interesting because we've been talking about this a lot in Linköping, like lately. And this is also, I can tell people that this is a very good tool to, like, if you want to explain something and you want to explain it using a spider graphic or a list, then a graphic like this can actually, people don't have to know so much about football in general to understand these things that we are talking about here. That we have 2 good center backs, top center backs in one of the best leagues in the world, Women's Super League, Laia Alexandre and Millie Bright. They are good center backs, world class, but they are different.
Still. Exactly. And in some teams, maybe you're aiming at something like having, like, you want to have Millie Bright and Laia Alexandri next to each other. Or in some teams, so it's, and if I would be looking for a Millie Bright, for example, in this platform, then I would change the data set. Like I wouldn't, like now I just have the center back preset, which is showing like what's a good general or like what should a center back generally be good at. But if I'm looking for a Millie Bright, then I would choose like the physical defender preset, or like maybe start with that and then also add like other KPIs, or like if so, then you will get a mean KPI score that is like appropriate for what you're searching for. But it still gets the general idea. So I think it's super nice. Another thing that I added is like we have the line chart. So I think we can, I don't know if I will show you, or I will do like this. These goes fast, so I will show. So let's say now we want to look at Leia Alexandri Millie Bright more. Then you can go to datasets again. Then you could go here, create a new dataset. I choose the Women's Super League 2023, Millie Bright. I name it Millie Bright. Then I change to event data. Then I need to search for Millie Bright here. Then I'm not adding any KPIs here. Like I'm just finding her, pressing save. Then I'm doing the copy here, as I told you, to make it more easy. Like this data set should be the same. It's only that I want to like, now I feel like I'm gonna spell it wrong, but
Yeah, you
okay.
did. Sorry.
I should have searched for her first, and then
there you have
oh
it.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
showing their entire name. Laya, I pressed, and that, yeah, this is not okay. In my defense, it was not the most easy name to spell as we.
No.
Yeah, then I press save. You can see that Millie Bright one is already finished. Then we go back to dashboard. It will be finished very soon. Now I will show you the reason to save, because I didn't press save when doing the spiders. So if we use a new tab here, we do 2 spiders, do VSL center back. Here we do Millie Bright. Here we do Laya Alexandri, like this. We have them. Then I want to show you the line chart. So let's say that we want to look at Millie Bright more closely. We automatically just get a line on like how many minutes they played. We know, like, we see that Millie Bright, yeah, she only played 6 games, but she's been like the starter mostly, except from this game when she was subbed out or only played 78. But then I can select the rating that's always in this data set. So now I get like her grade per game. So like 8 is equaling 4 stars, 10, 5, 0, a half star. You get it.
Looks good. That.
Yeah. So then you can see like her rating like per game, also with decimals, like, or if you hover over here, you can see her rating is like, yeah. So, and then, but then you can also show like how you want to view it. So like the reason why I have minutes here is that maybe you want to see like, does she have a better grade when she's subbed in, for example, or does she have like, doesn't it compare? Like now Millie Bright's a bad example, but for a winger, for example, maybe they started some games, they've been sub and entered the game the last 30, but then the defense is tired or they perform better then. You can also like press here and then you remove the minutes, like you don't have them anymore. You can also, this is better for teams, but if for some reason, like if you would like to view, or for teams, if you would like to view like expected points, like summed up, you can do press here and you get more of the stars, like how, but now it's the sum of a rating. So like for this case, it's kind of uninteresting, but you have that option because you could do a line chart for a team for like how many what's the expected points for the season and so on. And then you can also like add a trend line, so you can see that how is the rating like being affected, like is her form going up and down. I feel like I should just do Laya Alexander instead because it's a way better example. What did I name that data set? Sorry, let me go back. It feels like I forgot to. Did I change the name? Yeah, did I do something bad? Maybe sometimes you forget to choose player and then it's gonna hover forever. But yeah, anyways, we continue with Millie Bright as for long, and then yeah, so then you can do like, you can see an average form of the player. It could also be that you could, like, let's say that Chelsea changed a coach here, for example, and you would like to view, like, illustrate, like, or someone else got injured and you want to export this and have it in a presentation. You can press a certain button and like get a trend line or like a X line or something if you want to. And you can also do like the rolling average, which is like, then you get like how it has the form been like for the last 3 games. So like the first 3 games he was performing that in that way, and then here is like from game 2 to 4, here is from 3 to 5, 4 to 6. So you can get more of like a trend on how she's performing. You can also like do this, like we will add more KPIs, but you can do this for passes, for example, or shots, or like any action, and have several of these line charts. But it's a nice way of like analyzing the form in between these players, any player. Wrong button. We have a KPI called lead mark index, and that's like a KPI that Ola did a paper about and presented in England, and that's actually a KPI that measures the variation in form. So Millie Bright is she's playing pretty equally, but if you have more of a rating that is going up and down, like some games you're really good, some games you're not performing at all, like your performance varying a lot, so then your lead mark index will be low. But if you're playing on the same level a lot, the number will be high. So if you have a high rating and a high lead mark index, you're like consistently a good player. Like you're maybe a coach's dream in some sense, because the coach can rely on you.
Feels like that KPI will be legendary in a couple of years.
I hope so. I feel like always when we're doing these episodes, like I could talk forever, but it's more of like we should play, and we can just like plan more episodes as well.
Yeah.
Just to like do more things. But I think like the main idea I still feel like I want to show teams as well, and like the idea of like now this is just team KPIs, and like how we can like look at different KPIs and see which teams that performs the best. Like Chelsea has the most entries into the box per game, even though it's very equal to like Manchester City and Arsenal. We can look at
it's also crazy because like I'm pretty sure that the top 4 entries into the box is what the table is at the moment.
Yeah, and probably, yeah, and in that case, like, and also like if we want to compare it more closely, we can like add the teams to the spider. Now I have quite similar KPIs in this sense that they're all about really creating chances and not more about style. But then you can like kind of see the main idea is like here you can analyze just as players, you can analyze like the difference within.
Yeah.
And the mean KPI score could be something also to use here. I don't have it in the data set, but let's say, for example, that Linköping is looking for a new coach, and they have some KPIs that they think are like relevant for their playing style, for example. Then they could like choose those KPIs, do the mean KPI score, and look at in leagues where they think they can recruit a coach, and like see which teams are having the highest mean KPI score for our key stats, and then like look at those teams and see like, okay, this coach, they switched coach within the season, or like this coach is already gone, he's too expensive, and then maybe find like candidates.
Yeah.
You haven't
tried that in real life yet.
No, but it's an idea.
Yeah.
Like data scouting for a coach.
Yeah, I would say that that's probably something that will happen in the future.
I know that Brighton men's team in England works in that way. They have coaches profiles in the same way, and they have like even though they're not looking for a coach, they have like an updating coach list of like relevant few if they are sacking the coach. But now Brighton usually are very good at recruiting coaches and rather loses them to other teams than sacking them. But yeah.
Can't have them for too long when you're doing a good job. That's the problem. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that maybe this like can be it for this first coming back episode, and then like I thought like I have I could show a lot of more, but we could based on this, me and Mia, we can plan the next episode on like maybe having a certain scouting case or looking at more yeah, maybe
I'm
no
I'm
heat
I'm
match pass
pretty
networks and so on.
I'm pretty curious to dive deeper into Manchester United's Women's Super League season actually next time.
Yeah,
I am
I
because
think it would
I think,
be something nice to have like a live scouting case.
yeah, because we can also compare what is going wrong for Manchester United women this season. Did they overperform last season, or is something just not
The,
good enough this season?
we all
Um,
know that that answer is Ola Battier.
yeah, I know, but
I'm
yeah,
kidding.
yeah, 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 yeah. I
For
know
those of
that.
you watching Playmaker TV, you know that that is one of my favorite players.
Yeah, obviously, it's one of my favorite players too because she was a great, um, like was a great player to watch in the Women's Super League. But I'm just gonna say it before we end this now is that
Yeah,
I actually do think a player like Alexandre could end up in Barcelona as well. Looking at that spike
the
she got
yeah,
there, it's going to be interesting for sure. But
very interesting.
this will be it for the first time back, and I'm actually glad we are doing this again, Jesper, because it makes
I'm really
me like back into real life from the transfer window and negotiations with agents, players, and there's a lot of paperwork when you are a sports manager. I can tell people out there, which is not the most fun thing to do, but someone's has to do it. So
yeah.
it's
Someone
going
has
to
to
be
do
good.
it.
Also, I will also tell you this live now, Jesper, that we are going to Gothenburg next Friday to play Vålerenga at Bravida.
Mm. I'm thinking quickly. I'm in Gothenburg, so that's excellent. Then
Yeah,
maybe you have to tell me which time.
yeah, it's 14. It's 14. It's 2:30 in the afternoon, kickoff time.
Nice, nice,
Yeah,
very nice. I'll try to be there. But
perfect.
yeah, for you watching, I hope you enjoyed it. Like, reach us on Twitter or and let us know what you
Come
think
with
and what you want
suggestions
to
on
show. Yeah, suggestions.
what you want to hear or watch. We will be back soon. Yes, but I will promise the people hopefully watching or listening that we will do this in 2 weeks' time again.
Yeah, sounds good.
Perfect. Have a good
Sounds good.
evening.
Good evening.